This is a little bit of fine-tuning today, and I have a question too. I was looking through my junk, and I found this that I ordered. When you get old, you order things and forget about it. This right here, and it's this question for Euclid, is that this is a replacement for this bottom stand spring. And my question is, how he suggested that I put a spring inside this right here. How would I know how I do it, but how do I find a spring that it would work enough? And wouldn't it be easier to raise this holder so that I'd have more tension on the spring? Just wanted to know his advice on that. The next thing I'm doing right now is I've got my 30mm still on here, and I'm going through all of the little C-clamp fittings on the jet needle. Now there is a needle jet and there is a jet needle. This is a jet needle. The needle jet is the thing that's way down in the bottom there. What I've done here is I've gone up, this has 5 steps, 5 slots. Has a little tiny C-clamp that you can raise the needle or lower it incrementally, which will give you more gas or less gas proportionately as you give it throttle. What I found with this motor is that once I get on the pipe, that thing wants to lift off the ground. But on my low to my mid terms, it's stumbling. So I've replaced the clutch with that Polini clutch, which is real nice. I get the same problem. So I know it's not the clutch. So I'm trying to dial in the jet needle to see if it works. The next question I have is I want to thank Grant Mara for telling me about the CT big intake. And I looked it up at Scooter Swap Shop, but unfortunately all they show you is this part right here, and they don't show it where I can see the round part right here. This is the problem I have, is this is the intake for the big 33mm Sudco. This is putting it on the intake that I have, the black intake, and I figured this black intake, which is right here, is the same as the big intake, the CT big intake, stroker Tata big intake. And I want to see if Grant, maybe if you can take your intake and give me a measurement across from here to here. I'm also wondering about the bottom of the intake, or the reed cage has to be drilled for the block. And I'm thinking, well, why is it like that? And I was just wondering if you happen to have the dimensions on the reed cage, because I'll buy another one, but it's from a Scooter Schwab shop. It's $150. Now that's big money. It's worth it if the intake matches this, and you can see where the carburetor goes in and it hits this, not obstruction, but it hits a smaller intake, and your carburetor is only as good as your smaller intake. So that's kind of a bottleneck. But Grant, if you got any idea or got any pictures or anything, I'd be glad to see it. I just don't want to buy, for $150, I don't want to buy another one of these. It's black with this black piece on top and called a Tata big intake. So if anyone out there, Grant's giving me a lot of great information. can give me some specifications on that big stroker intake. If it's a lot bigger and it'll work better, I'll definitely spend 150 bucks. But I won't do it if it's just painted black and it looks just like this. See, and you can see from the bottom part where I've got this huge intake on the reed cage, which is the silver part right here, but I only have a small inlet. Well, it doesn't matter how big the reed end cage is, it doesn't matter how big the cylinder is, it doesn't matter how big the carburetor is. If you have a bottleneck right here, you're not going to get the flow of fuel and air you need through the engine. Your engine is only as good as your smallest component. Everything should be matched. And you know, that's the fun about doing all this. But if anyone has specifications on the Tata big carburetor intake, I'd appreciate it. Because the Scooter Swap Shop picture shows it, but it doesn't show any of the specifications on it. So anyway, or maybe, you know, one of the guys at Scooter Swap Shop could tell me what the diameter of the intake is, or maybe send me some pictures or something like that. Anyway, you know, that's business. I don't know if they will, but I'm considering buying one in the future if it is bigger and better. That's what I like about this little bike. Every year I get to go and buy bigger and better things for it. And it doesn't cost them that much money. Also, I want to let my fans know out there, I have my eyes set on a 2016 600RR 4-cylinder Honda. And if everything works out right, hopefully sometime this year, and I you know, it's several thousand dollars, even for you know, a new one. But that's my next goal, is to buy one of those.